Bentornati alle conversazioni e bentornati a Writers on Writers. In questo nuovo volume abbiamo 3 autori diversissimi, ognuno di loro ha scelto altrettanti autori che in qualche modo hanno influenzato la loro scrittura ed è interessante e illuminante vedere questo gioco di specchi. Il primo è Wole Soyinka, premio Nobel per la letteratura, che ha scelto lui nigeriano un autore inglese del 600, il grande Andrew Marvell, abbastanza misconosciuto in Italia. Il secondo autore è il re del New Journalism, Talese, che ha scelto Francis Scott Fitzgerald, e la terza è Louise Erdrich, che ha scelto una Native American, Joy Arjo.
Right, I was saying that at such moments of human challenge, my mind just goes instinctively towards works of life affirmation, especially as expression of human complexity, sense of humor, mischief, and defiance, and also a touch of political incorrectness. So I've settled on Andrew Marvell's To His Coy Mistress. Had we but whirled enough in time, this coyness, lady, were no crime, we would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. Thou by the Indian Ganges side shouldst rubies find, I by the tide of Humber would complain. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. My vegetable love shall grow vaster than empires and more slow. 100 years should go to praise thine eyes, and on thy forehead gaze. 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest. An age at least to every part, and the last age should show your heart.
My name is Gay Talese, and I'm reading from an F. Scott Fitzgerald story called Winter Dreams. And I read this story when I was 26. I was in the mid-50s. I was a reporter for the New York Times. And Fitzgerald was 26 when he wrote Winter Dreams. 3 years later, he wrote The Great Gatsby, and quite like Winter Dreams really focuses in on Gatsby in many ways. The heroine of this story is a woman named Judy Jones. She's a young woman of the Midwest. She's the daughter of a very, very rich man. And the rich man had a caddy, and the caddy's name is Dexter Green. And Dexter Green meets this young woman, this unapproachable, this very rich, unobtainable woman. And he has fantasies about her from the time he saw her on the golf course to the time he saw her again when he got older and older and older. And later on, he went off to New York and went on Wall Street, and he never quite forgot her. She was never within his range of romance. She was never obtainable as a potential wife because he was poor and she was rich. In those days, that mattered very, very much. All of Fitzgerald's stories about that realm of being unreachable and rich. He goes to New York and he does become rich himself. But he never quite forgot that woman, Judy Jones, that he knew from his youth and from his midlife. And one day in his office on Wall Street, a man visitor on business comes to his office and said, "You know, I think I know somebody from your hometown." Or my wife does it. She knows this woman named Judy Jones. And Dexter Green said, "I know Judy Jones." "Oh." And this man says, "Well, it's sort of sad." Dexter, "What do you mean sad?" "Well, what happened to her? What happened to her?" "Well, she married this man and he just mistreats her and drinks a lot, and she deserved better." And Dexter Green listens at first with alarm and then with sadness. And then the man said, "And she lost her looks. She was once a pretty..." And Dexter, "What do you mean pretty? She's beautiful. She was so utterly pretty. She's not pretty anymore." And the man said, "Well, you know, looks fade and she's okay, but she's not very pretty." And then he leaves. This visitor leaves the office. And in the final page of this story, our hero looks out the window. "I looked out the window of the New York skyline in which the sun was sinking in dull, lovely shades of pink and gold. He had thought that having nothing else to lose, he was invulnerable at last. But he knew that he had just lost something more, just as surely as if he had married Judy Jones and seen her fade away before his eyes. It's a very telling, sad story of that period, of the period we know no more. I don't think we have winter dreams anymore. There's in the time of Fitzgerald and the time of me as his reader when I was his age, 26. Oh, I remember 26.
Hello, I am Louise Erdrich. Antonio Monda asked me to read from the classics. I was very glad to. But I decided that I would read from indigenous poets today. After all, what could be more classic than being indigenous? The first poet I'm going to read is Joy Harjo. Joy Harjo is the Poet Laureate of the United States of America. She's just beginning her second term. She is of the Muskogee Creek Nation. You know, I may not know how to pronounce all of the indigenous words in these books, and I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm just going to have to keep reading. This is not something I ordinarily do. Nobody ordinarily does all this. Nobody usually gets to see the couch in the background and everything that you're seeing. But I'm very happy to be with you today. And this is Joy Harjo, An American Sunrise. We were running out of breath as we ran to meet ourselves. We were surfacing the edge of our ancestors' fights and ready to strike. It was difficult to lose days in the Indian bar if you were straight. Easy if you played pool and drank to remember to forget. We made plans to be professional, and did. And some of us could sing when we drove to the edge of the mountains with a drum. We made sense of our beautiful, crazed lives under the starry stars. Sin was invented by Christians, as was the devil, we sang. We were the heathens, but needed to be saved from them, than chance. We knew we were all related in this story. A little gin will clarify the dark and make us all feel like dancing. We had something to do with the origins of blues and jazz. I argued with the music as I filled the jukebox with dimes in June. 40 years later, and we still want justice. We are still America. We.
Legandomi a quello che ha detto poco fa Talese, voglio celebrare anch'io Francis Scott Fitzgerald, uno dei giganti della letteratura del Novecento. È stato un uomo che ha avuto una vita sfortunata e infelice, ma è stato uno dei grandi della letteratura. Io sceglierò un brano da Tenere la notte, il libro che personalmente amo di più, e vi leggerò l'incipit nella traduzione di Fernanda Pivano, è anche una scusa, è un'occasione per celebrare anche la Pivano, e tratto tutto dall'Oscar Mondadori che ha curato lei personalmente. Sulla bella costa della riviera francese, a mezza strada tra Marsiglia e il confine italiano, sorge un albergo rosa grande e orgoglioso. Palme deferenti ne rinfrescano la facciata rosata e davanti a esso si stende una breve spiaggia abbagliante. Recentemente è diventato un ritrovo estivo di gente importante alla moda. 10 anni fa, quando in aprile la clientela inglese andava verso il nord, era quasi deserto.